Okay, well, let's talk about being a parent and being a grandparent.
This is fun.
Being
A parent and being a grandparent. So you had Betty Jean DeBurr. Now these are the names you gave me, okay?
Betty, yeah, Betty knows child.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you had Rita.
Oh, Rita,
And you had my Papa Willie.
Willie.
And you had Merle.
Mm-hmm.
And then James Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
And you had Johnny. Well,
Yeah,
Uncle
yeah,
Bird.
Bird,
Johnny. I'm gonna come back to him. I got questions about some of these. And I got Aunt Sylvan. I got Uncle Kenny Ray.
Green Kenner,
And Michael.
Michael,
And Gail.
mm-hmm.
And Martin.
Martin,
And Dennis.
and Gerald. And Gerald.
And Gerald. Okay, so if you had to label your children,
I had to what?
if you had to label them, who was the most mischievous child?
Right here. Right here. I was a pushbacker.
Mhm.
Because if I didn't agree with something that you said, I'd let you know I didn't agree with it. And I would try to justify it and tell you why you were wrong.
Mhm.
Now that's me.
Mm-hmm. Instead of talking
That's
back.
the child up there too. Yeah.
That's the word too.
Huh?
That didn't go over.
No, that didn't go over well. But it didn't stop either.
She whoops her other children too.
Yeah, she may have whipped some of the others, but you said which one got the most.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Well, what other way?
Now let me tell you something. And I need every one of you all to listen to this because you're having children.
Yes, ma'am.
Mental illness is the curse that runs in our family.
It runs in our.
It runs on mama's side of the family, from the Hill side of the family. Mental illness.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's outward, it's an outward version that you possess, and other times you are a carrier of it. And so it may not show up in you, but it will show up in the children that you have. And so there are several of us. Only one has been declared mentally ill, but there are several who are mentally ill but not declared.
Right.
They don't have the
They
papers
have
to
been
say.
diagnosed, but they have the symptoms. Yeah, I spoke
Not
about
the
that. in
symptoms,
church.
they got
I mean, they exhibit the characteristics of certain mental illnesses,
Right.
but they haven't been to the doctor because that's a stigma in the black community is mental illness or being called crazy.
Right.
But that's something that needs to be addressed more in our family because, like I said, it does carry. You watch who you have to procreate, who you procreate with.
Girl, you got it. That's why I don't have any.
I spoke about this exact thing in church, and this is exactly what I said. Because it runs on both sides of my family.
And she didn't ask me any
So
questions.
there's a greater probability that your offspring will be
Yeah, but that's why I took him to the doctor already.
Mhm.
I take care of mine and already.
So you saying that there's more than one in
There's more than one, but Merle is the only
Yeah.
one who's been diagnosed,
mm-hmm.
and you see where she is.
And she is diagnosed with schizophrenia.
I don't know what it is, but schizophrenia is one of them because you go to one doctor and they'll say one thing, you go to another one,
Well,
they'll say something
Well,
else.
James Sanders was mentally ill. Got quiet, huh?
Yeah. Later on.
Alcoholism will contribute to
And
Yes.
well, the alcoholism is a cover and over factor. It's like self-medicating because you cannot cope. Cannot cope. And that's the other thing. We don't teach our children how to cope because we don't know how to cope. So therefore, we can't teach them how to cope.
Well, Grandma, how did you deal with knowing that you had children that were mentally ill?
She didn't know
She
it.
didn't know.
She didn't know
She
it.
thought that was just behaviors.
We don't want to talk about it because no, she's crazy. Girl, I dealt more with that child than one, and Mama was scared.
And so they was turning
Mama
to
was
street
scared.
drugs
She didn't
and
know what to do with it.
alcohol to try to
And
cope
she
with
didn't
her.
even want to accept it. Then when she did accept it, she didn't know what to do with it. And then when she needed to go to the hospital to go to the doctors, she didn't even know how to talk to the doctors about her behaviors as she was growing up. She just thought she was whining and crying all the time. And people that you have to, when you have left several children and you've got to leave your children with somebody else, people don't know how to deal with your children and what's going on. So they would tell Merle when we lived down on Phillip Street that they were going to throw her over on the railroad, let the train run over her. Well, that was just a, a tactic they were using to try to scare her to stop her from crying.
Come on.
But she was never satisfied with herself. She was never satisfied with the name. She was never satisfied with the kind of texture of her hair that she had. She was never satisfied with the complexion that she had. She was just never satisfied with herself at all.
And then
So
would
she
act
made some
out.
bad choices in finding boyfriends and dealing with friends and things like that. Then she listened to people that she worked with. Girl, if I were you, see, a lot of times we say things that, what is the word, enhance or causes them to develop a deeper state of what they're already in by telling them, girl, if I were you, I would do what your sister do. I would do what your sister do. See, I went through school on a flower bed of ease. I just sailed through school. I enjoyed school. I still enjoy school. But they hated school. But yet, she wanted to be accepted just like I. And then the teachers would tell her, well, I know you're going to do a great job in school because your sister did.
And
that
that
girl.
caused jealousy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that caused jealousy between Aunt Merle to Aunt Aretha. But also know that that your Uncle James was audio and visual schizophrenic.
Okay, and the thing of it is, those two are right together. See, Miriam and then James. Now, see, there's also about family position.
Position?
Position. In a family, if you're the first child, you get all the attention because you're the very first. And there are great expectations for you. You come the second child, you might get some attention, but you don't get as much. By the time the third child comes along, you just move on. Move on. And so she was the third child, James was the fourth child. James was just as envious too. He wanted everything that somebody else had, but he didn't know how to go about getting it. But at least he had some drive, because he got some others like Bird who has no drive. No desire to do anything but to talk and tattle, which is bad.
Well, you told me that my papa was a tattletale. Willie.
Yeah, he was tattletale. We almost drowned him too for it. We threw him in, we put him in the pond behind her mama and daddy's
You
house.
knew about this?
Yeah. They said, go get him. Go get him. Go get him. Go get him, Liz. I had the one go to the
No, you
party.
didn't go get him. It was Helen. It was Helen and Kitty.
I asked you something about you losing your child. I heard something about you having a miscarriage one time.
Well, I had the miscarriage. There's nothing I can do but let it come on. Miscarriage?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Did you have to go to the doctor for it?
The baby was born prematurely.
Yeah.
She delivered the child,
Mhm.
but the child was born, like not the right number, not to full term. That's where I want to be. So Miller buried the baby out there in Jerusalem Cemetery.
Miller funeral home?
Miller Funeral Home.
Yeah.
Oh, you had a funeral and all of that?
No,
I didn't have
just,
a funeral.
they,
Just
you
buried
don't have to have a
baby.
funeral.
Mhm.
You can just agree for them to bring the body out there and
And
inter it
bury
in the ground.
Mhm.
And they don't even dig. They didn't even dig graves then. So you get some family member or someone else to go out there and dig the grave, and they would put it in there in a little wooden box, and then that was it. That was it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Finish high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Well, I did a good job,
Mhm.
but you see, some ain't working yet.
Okay, well, this came up. Why does Uncle Martin and Uncle Dennis, why they still live there with you?
Yeah, I don't know, but yes, I do. They didn't have nowhere to go, and I could use them to take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but Martin's good about cleaning the house,
Mm-hmm.
and he can cook.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis can cook, but Dennis will get out and work.
Mm-hmm.
He don't mind working,
Mm-hmm.
but Martin, he's a house child, so he'll get it and cook.
Mm-hmm. What about Uncle James? As you older now, when you lost Uncle James, having somebody that your child that left before you.
It hurts me.
Mhm.
I missed him so much.
Mm-hmm.
When James passed that day, I called him. I don't know. I called Corey. You went to the doctor. I called him. He said, "Wait just a minute. I'm talking to somebody, and I'll call you back." But when I called again, I couldn't get him. Right after I first tried to call him, and I called again, I couldn't get him. I said, "I wonder what's wrong with James Anderson. He ain't answering for it, but when y'all come in, he was laying on the bed, wasn't he?
Now, I had come in earlier. I had tests run that day
Uh-huh.
and had come home and cooked. He was still sitting there watching TV. And then I went to Bible class.
Uh-huh.
So after I came back from Bible class,
Uh-huh.
that's when he was gone, that night.
The night.
Yes.
Mhm.
But during the day, I was at St. Francis having some test run. But I came on home and cooked some spaghetti.
But I,
Then I, went on to church.
well, I tried to call him that day, and
He
that's
was just
what he
talking to
did.
different people, I think. Because he called me, what you doing? I said, I'm sitting here waiting to have my carotid artery test or
Uh-huh.
whatever test. And I had several tests that day. West Monroe and Monroe. Yeah, and he was just sitting outside on the patio, and then he went in the back den. Him and Princess.
Mhm.
But he had gotten in the bed on his side. Yep.
And so you said you tried calling, you couldn't
Came
get
in,
hold of him.
touched
I
him.
couldn't get hold. No, I
I
couldn't
just
get him.
came in and touched him. I was getting undressed and just touched him. Trying to make him, wake up.
Mhm. And so they called you.
And that's when I called 911.
I
I
called
tried to
her.
call him.
I called her
Mhm.
when they were down at the hospital. I'm the one who called her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm the one who went to her house and got her and carried her to the hospital.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But after
How did you
I
take
know he was gone, there's nothing I could do about it. But he was gone.
She was accepting.
Mhm.
She was deeply
That's-
hurt, but she was accepting.
Uh-huh.
That's just the answer for everything.
You ain't caught that yet?
But that's the way
I'm not
she.
accepting that.
But that's the way she is.
Mhm.
Somebody else may have jumped up and down and cursed God and all of that, but she's not that way. And she was probably more hurt when Demario died than when James died.
Really? Why?
Mhm.
Because
It
Demario
was
was
killed.
young.
Let her tell
Yeah.
Let grandma say.
Let her tell it.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about Demario.
What about him? How did I find out Mario was somebody called me and told me that the night I was hurt.
We had been with him. He had been with us
That
that
day.
day, Christmas
Yeah,
Day,
Oh, Miss
yeah.
Sylvia's.
at the luncheon, at the
Sylvia's.
dinner.
Yeah, they left and went to the cafe.
So, I mean, well, what do you love most about being a grandparent? Talking about Mario. That's what brings me to this next question.
What I love about being a grandparent,
Mm-hmm.
I done tended a whole lot of grandchildren and great grandchildren. I was taking care of a lot of them,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
all of them.
Great.
Yeah. Keisha, did I take care of you?
No, you had Micah and Trail and Lexus and who else?
Yeah, I sure had
Not
Lexus
my
and
kids very
Trail.
much, though.
Mm-hmm. And so Uncle Kenny and Uncle Michael, they left.
But they send her something. Michael makes sure that he comes to see her
He sure
more
did.
than any of the other boys who are away from here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Michael does.
Mm-hmm. How you felt about them moving off?
But it's fine. They had to make a life of their own.
Mm-hmm.
But like she said, Michael will come back and visit me if I need anything.
Mm-hmm.
But see, he got a child he has to take care of too.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And Gail?
That ought to be her favorite. If it's not, Gail ought to be her favorite.
Well, because she's the last girl.
She's the last girl.
Gail, I love Gail.
And
You
she
love
was-
Gail.
Uh-huh.
And she was at home more.
Mm-hmm.
And Gail looks out for her.
Mm-hmm.
Micah stayed with her until I realized she was crippling Micah, and I said, she got to go.
No, right.
Okay. Well, I think I got a pretty good idea of all your children.
Okay, then you're
She
the best-
loves all of her children, but you have your love for your children in different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
After you pass on,
Uh-huh.
what you want? What is it something that you want your family to continue doing? You don't want us to ever let go of. What's the most important thing that you want us to know?
Oh, if I pass on,
When I pass on.
well, y'all live a life that y'all want to be loved, and somebody you love to take care of, and give the love back to you.
somebody that's gonna love me just as much as I love them.
Yeah, right.
Grandma.
And what you hope for the family, the whole family, to what would you like to see? You want us to stay close? Do you want us to talk more often? What is it?
Well, I know y'all can't live close together. It's some out of states and like that.
Mhm.
But let's stay in contact with one another.
She should have said, love your children, but don't overindulge with your children. There's a time when you give and there's a time when you withdraw.
go.
There's a fine line that you have to walk in child rearing. Don't spoil your children. But most of all, teach your children about the love of God.
That's what I was
Teach
gonna say.
them the love of God.
God.
Take your
Yes.
children to church so that they can get
Yes.
grounded
Yes.
in God.
You know,
Singing and praising, honoring
Yes,
God.
indeed.
And then when that child is born, don't send that child to church. Take that child to church.
Amen.
But between church and your house, you teach your child.
Inside
Let
your
your
house.
child see you pray.
In the right.
Let your child see you praise God. Introduce them in every way. Walk around the house singing songs, humming religious songs, instead of all this stuff you hear on the radio. In other words, ground your children in God. And then you will not be able to take it away from them. They may stray. But if they are grounded, if they are
gonna come
rooted
back.
like the rivers of water,
They gonna come
then
back.
they are coming back.
Back.
They
They're
are coming
running back.
back.
Ask her what
That's
I do
the
with
most
my
important
grandchildren.
thing.
I take them to Sunday school. Yes, indeed.
And I don't even have any. And I take them to Sunday
do.
school.
You
And I take
don't
them
have
to church.
biological children, but you have children.
But I
You got a lot of kids.
See, when they come to my house, they know.
She got
There is
children.
no question about it. They know
They
they're
have
going to
to.
church. Bryson came home with his flip flops because they were new. Didn't bring any tennis shoes. But we
Wear
went-
tennis shoes.
well, he didn't even have that.
He could wear
we
tennis
want those
shoes.
flip flops.
That's
That's all
all
he
flip
had.
flops too.
Yes, ma'am.
Or go to Walmart and get some.
No, he told me, Anna Rita, I don't even want you wasting your
Go
money.
to Walmart and get some, boy.
No, so we wore those flip flops and we put some socks on, we put some long jeans on, and he read a poem in church today. And he didn't know he was gonna do it. He started to go up there without the flip flops, and I said, baby, just stick your foot in the shoes. But they know when they come to me, it's no question.
Come go
They can
play
stay
let's
up
get
all
them
night
some
long
shoes.
on that Xbox. But when it's time to get up and go to church, and BJ and I'll get into it sometime, no, son, get up. You're not staying him out. If I ever let him stay there one time without going to church, he'll think he can stay
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And he can stay there. No, that's not the way it works in my house. Not at my house.
And you learn this from
Not in my house.
No, I
either.
didn't learn it from that grandma. I learned it from my grandma,
Not in my
Henrietta
house
Chapel.
either. Not
When
in
we
my
had to
house.
walk down that railroad from her house to get to Jerusalem Church for Sunday school. That's where I learned that.
Aisha
And I heard her singing.
me today.
Yeah.
Sure did.
And I heard her praying.
Yes, indeed.
And she taught me life too.
And that's why it's
my
so
grandchildren
important.
go.
That's why it's so important. It is important. Ask her if she could do it over, what would she change? What would she do
I'm
differently?
satisfied though.
Well, if you had to do it, what were we gonna say?
If I have to leave it over, I might find some things I need to improve.
Like what?
I don't know.
She might not have married Willie DeBerg.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have been here.
None of this would be.
But you know, you ask her if you to change it over.
Yeah,
Like,
No, she agreed though. It didn't come out your mouth, but it might as well have. You laughed hard.
That's
at
a
that.
regret you don't want your granddaughters and your daughters and stuff to have, correct? I'm asking.
Is that what?
Is that a regret you don't want your granddaughters and great-granddaughters to regret marrying the wrong man or having children from the wrong man?
I wouldn't want that to happen.
You don't want that to happen.
I know, I wouldn't want it to happen. Now, it could happen, but I wouldn't want it to happen.
Yes, ma'am.
She's saying accept it with a grain of salt. What did you say? She kept saying just that's the way
Accept
it
it and
is.
move on.
Accept it and move on.
That's the whole model of this whole thing. Me and Isha was saying that. That's
Gotta
everything.
move on.
And that's how I think that's how she got to 94. You got some that are causing so much stress, they dying off at 60. And so
Or
forth.
younger.
Yes, or younger. You have younger folks who having heart attacks at 30 and 24 and stuff like that. So that's what I'm seeing, and I get that from her. I never knew, but so a lot of things you just have to accept it
And move on.
and move on. So that's
Right,
basically, I guess, something that grandma I could say has taught us or something, or it's been instilled in us. I don't know how, but some things you just you can't change. Like she said, when you asked about what would you do about your child doing dying, I can't do nothing about it. You want me to stress over
That
it?
was
No, I had to
God-
accept it
that
and
was
move on
God's
and keep
That was
moving.
God's plan.
Huh?
You said that was God's
God's
plan.
plan.
God praying, yeah.
God's
Don't
plan.
need to live.
That was what Drake said. Yeah.
I
But
mean,
that's how you can go through to, I guess that's one of the keys of life to getting into 94, I guess.
with being stress free, so you didn't stress over any of that.
Did y'all ever remember celebrating 19th of June? That was the niggas' day.
Oh, Juneteenth?
Huh?
Talking about Juneteenth?
June 10th, yeah.
No, we don't really celebrate it much now. But how did y'all celebrated it?
Yeah, we celebrated
What y'all
Juneteenth.
do?
You want the baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They played baseball games around and we celebrated that way.
You said that was the niggas' holiday?
Yeah, that's what we call it.
Why did they call it that? Tell me.
No, they call it the black folks. They didn't call it niggas.
Oh, you called it that.